excellence, well, let's be honest with ourselves, broadcast competence at best. If you'd like to join us, our adventknows.com talk and text line is always open at 414-799-1130. You can reach us toll free, 1-800-838-9476. Email me directly, dod@iheartmedia.com, at Dan O'Donnell Show on X, where you can watch the show streaming live, as well as on Facebook, facebook.com/Dan O'Donnell Show. Of course, our YouTube channel, we are streaming. We try to stream every single show, youtube.com/Dan O'Donnell Show. And we are following breaking news from our friends at wispolitics.com. J.R. Ross with the big exclusive. The Wisconsin Ethics Commission is alleging that Adam Steen, Janelle Brandtjen, and the Donald Trump Joint Fundraising Committee all conspired to evade campaign finance limits as part of an effort to recall Assembly Speaker Robin Vos. They are recommending that local district attorneys file criminal charges. The commission this week recommended that local DAs investigate and charge both, as well as the Steen campaign, both Donald Trump's Joint Fundraising Committee and State Representative Janelle Brandtjen, who lost a vote, Steen, who lost to Vos by 260 votes. 8 individuals and the 3 Republican parties alleged to be involved. You might recall that we reported on this extensively when it happened. And you might recall as well that as much as I do like and respect Janelle Brandtjen, as much as I support Republicans, as much as I support the Donald Trump campaign, what was being done was pretty clearly illegal. From the wispolitics.com story, the referrals accuse Steen, Brandtjen, the Save America Joint Fundraising Committee, and others of committing felonies. The records also show the commission looked into a $4,000 donation MyPillow CEO Mike Lindell gave one of the county parties, but it decided there wasn't sufficient evidence to prove he actually intended the donation to benefit Steen's campaign. You might recall in 2022, Steen launched a campaign to unseat Assembly Speaker Vos. Vos is obviously a very controversial figure, not just amongst Democrats, but also in conservative circles, primarily because of his apparent unwillingness to investigate, or at least investigate further, claims of malfeasance in the 2020 presidential election here in Wisconsin. Brandtjen has been one of the states, I dare say the best in the state legislature at investigating election integrity issues. But she was frustrated, and so too was Michael Gableman, the former special prosecutor, the investigator hired by the state legislature to investigate the 2020 election. That investigation was allowed to close after the allotted period of time. Gableman wrote a report and wanted to keep investigating. Vos said, no, this is costing too much money. He shut it down. Gableman obviously was ticked off. So too was Janelle Brandtjen. And in 2022, they got behind Adam Steen and his attempt to primary Vos. This was a massive effort. In fact, there was advertising on both sides on WISN Radio, our flagship here on the Dan O'Donnell Show, which is relatively unusual. Just as I'm sure if you've heard, there's advertising, I believe, for and against the current recall effort of Robin Vos. Now, this isn't a comment. This isn't a section of the show designed to defend Vos in any way. In fact, he is on my you-know-what list for the way he ordered a voice vote, or at least allowed a voice vote to be taken on a very controversial issue known as right of first refusal, something that I've talked and wrote about extensively. Nonetheless, Whether or not you support Vos, whether or not you absolutely hate Vos with a burning passion, you have to follow the law in trying to defeat Vos. What Steen was telling his supporters to do to avoid campaign finance limits, you can only give a set amount to a candidate, but under Wisconsin law, you can give unlimited amounts of money to state or local Republican parties, and in turn, those parties can give unlimited money to candidates. What you cannot do is to do what's known as earmarking. You can't say, okay, random Republican Party, I'm giving you $20,000, but I want you to give all of this $20,000 to candidate X, Janelle Brandtjen, for example. Can't do that. It's called earmarking. It's illegal. All of a sudden, the Langlade County Republican Party, which is really at the center of this, was raking in massive donations. Now, Langlade County is absolutely nowhere near this district. This would be in Racine County. The Langlade County GOP was taking in tons of donations, and a lot of those donations, the checks had the number 63 written on them. Now, why do you think they would have 63 written on them? That this check was earmarked for the 63rd Assembly District, i.e., this donation is in fact to go to Adam Steen. Steen, through phone conversations, which he was inexplicably recording, and I think might end up forming the basis of a criminal case against him, as well as all manner of witness testimony, people who he ticked off over the course of his campaign saying, yeah, we were telling people, donate to the Langlade County GOP. This is illegal. This is a conspiracy to commit, essentially, campaign finance violations. I would go a little bit farther. I actually think it's fraudulent. The recommendations for prosecution, this from WisPolitics.com, pose another potential legal headache for Trump, who clashed with Vos in 2022 after the longtime Assembly Speaker refused his calls to try to overturn Wisconsin's 2020 presidential election results. The Save America Joint Fundraising Committee is the primary fundraising vehicle for Trump's 2024 campaign and his leadership PAC. The referral doesn't identify any individuals associated with the committee the commission believes should face an investigation and charges. Instead, the commission found probable cause the committee and its agents had violated Wisconsin's campaign finance laws. What that means is the Ethics Commission didn't investigate who specifically from the Save America PAC was taking part in this scheme. But they're saying, look, we know that somebody from the PAC, we have evidence that someone from the PAC, you may have an agent who is criminally charged if, in fact, and this does not mean that anybody is being criminally charged just yet. This means that the Wisconsin Ethics Commission believes that there is sufficient evidence to form a criminal case against these people. You might recall the one race that the Save America PAC spent on in 2022. This was one of the reasons in 2022, especially after Republicans had a deeply disappointing midterm election, a lot of conservatives were starting to turn on Trump saying, look, this guy is sitting on an absolute mountain of cash that he said he was raising to help Republicans win in the midterms, and he spent almost nothing. The only race that the Save America PAC spent on was trying to defeat Robin Vos. Seems a little self-defeating, but such is politics in 2024. The heart of the effort, WisPolitics.com, was an effort by Steen and an arrangement between his campaign, the county parties, and others to send donations to the Langlade County GOP, the investigation found. Steen and campaign aides told those who wanted to give more than the $1,000 limit on individual donations for assembly candidates to send the additional contributions to the Langlade County GOP with a 63 in the memo line. That references the district Vos represents. The number was a signal that the Langlade Langlade County GOP was to forward those funds or use them for in-kind donations to benefit Steen, according to the documents which were obtained through an open records request. Altogether, the investigators identified more than $40,000 to the Langlade County GOP that was contributed to Steen's campaign, which raised $174,129 in 2022. A WisPolitics check of state campaign finance reports found the party gave Steen's campaign $44,702 between July 7th and November 8th that year. You following this? They take in $44,000 or $40,000 that was donated to the Langlade County GOP with the 63 written on the check lines. And the Langlade County GOP gave Steen's campaign $44,702. Folks, again, I must reiterate how much I like and respect Representative Janel Brandtjen. I do. I really do. I consider her to be a personal friend. She was giving to the Langlade County GOP as well. She was also directing others, hey, if you want to get around this limit, donate to the Langlade County GOP. We need to defeat Vos at all costs. Adam Steen is our guy. You can only give him $1,000, but you can give whatever you want to Langlade County. That Langlade County agreed to this, that Langlade County's GOP said, yes, we are going to take part in this illicit scheme, again, is unconscionable and it is criminal. To say I'm disappointed in Representative Brandtjen would be probably a pretty massive understatement. To say I'm disgusted with the behavior of the Steen campaign and pretty much all those who, and folks, a whole lot of people who were involved in the Steen campaign, as you might imagine, whole lot of people who are behind that are currently running this ridiculous recall effort against Robin Vos. This is the sort of stuff that happens when you are so blinded by hate, when you allow that anger and that rage at someone to take over, and you do things that you're able to justify to yourself because this person is so bad, this person is so wrong, this person is so evil that we need to take them out at any costs. Does that sound familiar at all? Does that sound like one political party and its reaction to a certain former and perhaps future president? It sure does. It should. This is exactly the emotional response that just overrides every rational thought that people have when it comes to Donald Trump. This is the same thing that Democrats are doing to justify all of the politicized, weaponized prosecutions of Trump, this civil judgment. Letitia James is openly saying, yeah, I'm totally going to take Trump's buildings if he can't pay $350 million in 30 days. No other defendant has to pay that much that quickly. No other defendant in preparation for a civil trial of this magnitude had such a short window of discovery and trial preparation. But we needed to get this Trump fraud case in which no one, remember, was defrauded. No banks were complaining witnesses. We have to use an arcane, bizarre state of New York statute in order to get this done before the campaign really heats up so that Trump is essentially broke before the presidential general election cycle even begins in earnest. To say nothing of 4 different criminal prosecutions, all using essentially untested legal theories. The city of Manhattan, the district attorney there, Alvin Bragg, literally invented a crime to charge Trump. Here, it is the exact same mentality. Well, yes, what we're doing is wrong. What we're doing is probably illegal. But we are justified because Vos has to go. Because Vos needs to be defeated. Because we as a conservative movement need to do whatever we can to eliminate Vos. We can take phone calls on this. We can take texts on this. You are not going to be able to convince me that because we need to rid ourselves of rhinos like Voss, it is perfectly acceptable. And you can't say because the Democrats have done it, we're going to use this standard against ourselves. We will discuss, we'll take your calls, we'll take your texts on this breaking news next here on The Dan O'Donnell Show.
Keep in touch with Dan on Twitter at Dan O'Donnell Show. More of the show is next.
This is Michael Lynch from the Lynch Truck Center. We've been working hard sourcing work trucks from all over the country. We currently have over 300 commercial work trucks in stock and ready for your choice of upfit. Our sales team is 100% dedicated to commercial trucks, which means our truck professionals can get you the right truck right now. Our new inventory of Chevrolet, GMC, Isuzu, Hino, not to mention our used inventory, combined with nearly 30 commercial financial lenders, ensures the lowest rates possible for you and the fastest buying experience. Our service center has over 20 dedicated truck bays running 2 shifts, a contact-free sales process, and delivery drivers ready to deliver your truck right to your door. We know your time is important, so we make sure our process is quick and hassle-free. Find your new truck today at lynchtruckcenter.com or stop into the Lynch Truck Center at Highway 36 in Waterford. We won't disappoint you.
The Wode's dining room table from Penny Mustard is a sight to behold.
Incredible things happen at the Wode's table.
Food tastes better.
Conversations last longer.
And relationships grow stronger.
American made with solid wood and conversion varnish for an extra durable finish.
It's one of Penny Mustard's top 10 most popular designs.
The Wode's table is simply incredible.
Yeah, if you do homework at this table, you'll get every answer correct.
Well...
If you play poker on this table, you'll win every hand.
Don't say that.
If you draw up world-dominating plans at this table, you will rule the universe.
Okay, I'm legally obligated to say that the Wode's table from Penny Mustard does not guarantee perfect homework, poker winnings, or complete world domination.
Well, you won't know until you try.
The Wode's table starts at just $91 a month, with only 1 penny down and no interest till February of 2027 through February 25th at Penny Mustard.
Showrooms in Milwaukee and Chicago.
PennyMustard.com.
Penny Mustard Furnishing.
Texting enrolls you into reoccurring automated text messages. Consent not required to purchase. Message and data rates may apply.
Hey, Dan, how you doing? Haven't seen you around the gym for a while.
Yeah, I've really fallen off. Since I turned 40, I just don't get the results I used to get.
Could be lower testosterone.
Lower T?
Yeah, I went through it a while back. Once you hit 40, your body has less free testosterone. I got Nugenix Total T, and it's made a huge difference for me.
I've seen that on TV. Is it for real?
Oh, yeah. The patented key ingredient is something called Testofen, which helps boost free and total testosterone levels to help you trim up and stay lean.
And it's made a difference for you?
Man, I feel like I'm in my 20s again. At work, in the gym, and in the bedroom.
Are they still giving out complimentary bottles for people to try it for themselves?
Yeah, you just need to send them a text.
Text BODY to 321-321 right now for your complimentary bottle of Nugenix Total T, the #1 selling testosterone booster at GNC. Plus, text now and we'll include a bottle of Nugenix Thermo, our most powerful fat incinerator ever, to help you get back into shape fast. Absolutely free. Text BODY to 321-321. That's BODY to 321-321.
Liars, cheats, Democratic politicians, liberal media types. Instead, listen to this.
It is the Dan O'Donnell Show. Conservative thought, not just talk. A whole lot of reaction coming into the breaking news and exclusive story by our good friend, J.R. Ross, WisPolitics.com, one of the very best reporters in the state. He has an exclusive report that the Wisconsin Ethics Commission is recommending criminal charges against Representative Janelle Brandtjen, former Assembly candidate Adam Steen, and the Langlade County Republican Party, as well as the Donald Trump Save America PAC, for their role in what essentially amounts to a money laundering scheme. Steen, you might recall, launched a primary campaign against Assembly Speaker Robin Vos, summer of 2022. It got a lot of momentum. It was very well funded. Well, it turned out what Branchin and the Save America PAC and Steen himself, as well as several members of his campaign, were instructing their donors to, instead of donating the $1,000 maximum to Steen, if you want to donate more to get Vos out of office, donate to the Langlade County GOP, because you can donate an unlimited amount of money to them, and in turn, they'll donate the same amount of money to Steen. It's called earmarking. It is not lawful. You can justify criminal behavior all you want. It's what the Democrats do. It's I guess how politics is done now. But it is not something that I think should be tolerable or tolerated. Look at it this way. For the last year now, we have been disgusted with the way that the left has behaved with respect to Trump, right? Breaking pretty much every rule, every standard of ethic, every law, it seemed, to try to take him down. I guess this gets to a fundamentally ethical and moral question. Is it okay? Are we okay with that behavior of justifying whatever it is, whatever abhorrent conduct there is, in order to get the desired political result? It's a genuine question. Let's go to Gary in Kenosha. Gary, you're on the Dan O'Donnell Show. What's going on, bud?
Oh, Dan, your philosophy is what's got the Republican Party in this trouble. It's not what the Democrats are doing. It's what the Republicans aren't doing. I mean, as long as I've been saying this for like 30 years, if you're going to rise above the fray, they are going to cut you off at the ankles. Republicans need to learn to fight Democrats at the same level that Democrats are trying to kill America with. They are not good people. We do not need to be talking about them as being the opposing party. They are communists. They are bad people, and they need to be beaten any way they can. The only reason Democrats are winning is because of the way they run, the way they do their dirty tricks.
Sure.
And if you're going to rise above the fray, they're going to cut you off at the ankles, as they have been doing for the last 30 years.
Gary, the one problem is all this was done to take out a Republican, not a Democrat.
That's right. Yeah, and here, they got rid of George Soros. Yeah, or that, George Santos. They got rid of George
Sure.
Santos. Now they don't, what is wrong? And they kept Ilhan Omar and Cory Bush. And that guy that pulled
Gary, hold on a second. Let's focus. I get what you're saying. I think the better comparison would be Republicans immediately. I see what you're saying. Please don't get me wrong. I see what you're saying. Republicans immediately say, oh, George Santos allegedly committed financial crimes. He's out. Democrats, meanwhile, have Bob Menendez, who is charged with having gold bars from Egyptian bribery in his coat pockets. And there's no even attempt to get him out of the justice system needs to play out. So I think you're seeing correctly this double standard. Here's the problem with this, though. Okay, let's concede there are two standards of justice, right? Two standards of justice, one for conservatives, one for liberal Democrats. Conservatives will be criminally charged. Conservatives will be persecuted for doing the exact same thing Democrats do. Is it your contention then that conservatives need to do that stuff and get criminally charged, which is what's happening here? Do I have any doubt that if this was a Democrat scheme, let's say it was, who's a Dem who is running? Mandela Barnes, who is running for Senate. And he was saying, okay, instead of donating to me, donate to this tiny little party and they'll just earmark donations for me. Is there any chance, say, the Dane County District Attorney or Milwaukee County District Attorney would ever file criminal charges against Mandela Barnes? Of course not. Everybody knows that. There's just zero chance that would happen. This is the fundamental problem with the state of the country today, is that the law itself, the rule of law itself, isn't something that applies equally. It's now a political bludgeon. And if we're to play that game, just play it understanding that the game is rigged, the deck is stacked. If you commit crimes as a Republican, you're going to be charged. Does that make it right that Democrats won't be? No. But just be aware that this is how the deck is stacked. Let's go to Ed, listening to us all the way in Iowa. What's going on, Ed?
Dan.
Yes.
Always the Democrats approve. We are always guilty until proven innocent. Right now, you're doing the same thing as they do. Why don't we wait, find out in the end if they got indicted for anything instead of rolling them over right now?
Well, Ed, I've seen all the evidence. This is not new. This is not something that just popped today. This has been going on for a year plus. In fact, probably about a year and a half. We started getting reports on this in the fall of 2022. And I mean, Steen essentially admitted himself in recorded conversations to what it was they were doing. So yes, okay, nobody has even been criminally charged. Okay, nobody has been arrested. Nothing like that has happened. Sure. But the Ethics Commission has finished its investigation and not only found that there were ethical violations, but that they believe those violations do rise to the level of criminal conduct. So you're right. Nobody is guilty, but the evidence has been out for quite some time. And just like, for example, the guy in Elkhorn, the parolee who shot and killed that couple, right? He's innocent until proven guilty too. He also admitted to the shooting. He also admitted to murdering those two people, and all of the evidence clearly pointed to him. So yes, I mean, nobody wants to just say you're guilty, but we can also sort of put a reasonable application of the facts to this. Mike in Cedarburg, you're on the Dan O'Donnell Show.
Dan, assuming that this is true, and we have to have the presumption of innocence, right? Even though, as you say, the evidence seems to be overwhelming. Does this not best prove that we are indeed the party of stupid? Come now, folks.
Sure does.
Even the Biden family crime syndicate had 10 levels of banks and family members and a web rather than a 63 written on the comment line of a check. I mean, and then to put it in writing that here's what the code 63 means. I mean, can you get any more self-incriminating than that?
No, you really can't. And this was, suffice it to say, the level of criminal genius here was not mafia-style criminal genius. This was about as obvious as it gets, and this is why I have no problem saying that, yes, there was rather obviously a conspiracy between the Steen campaign and the Langley County GOP to defy campaign finance limits. Now, is this the worst crime that's ever been committed in politics? No. Again, ask Gold Bar Bob Menendez about graft and bribery. Ask the Biden family. Again, presumption of innocence, right? Presumption of innocence, but the evidence is pretty overwhelming that there was a massive influence peddling scheme that goes back more than a decade. Hell, I would be willing to wager that it goes back all the way to the time that Biden was first elected to the Senate in 1972. Because, again, you can reasonably look at the facts. We do have some other stuff I want to get to. We'll continue to follow this developing story throughout the morning here on The Dan O'Donnell Show.
The Dan O'Donnell Show is coming right back.
Dan O'Donnell here for my great friends at Mander Collision and Glass, now with 6 locations to serve you. You hear me talking often about Mander's customer service. Well, here's one of their customers, Haley, who writes, I had a small chip in my windshield. I called and came in right away to see if it could be fixed. Mander had a glass technician in the building that day, and within 20 minutes of arriving, my chip was filled. Very friendly staff and great customer service. My husband and I have used Mander for a few needs with our vehicles, and we will continue to go to them. Thank you so much for sharing your story, Haley. Your loyalty is a reflection of Mandar's extreme dedication to customer service. They'll go the extra mile as a matter of policy, and that is why I tell so many people to go to Mandar. Now with 6 locations to serve you, Mandar truly is your best decision after a collision or for windshield repair.
I'm Brett Ochtenhagen, owner of Brett Ochtenhagen Seasonal Services. Most people know us as a trusted landscape contractor, but did you know that we've been crafting decorative concrete and masonry features for almost 30 years? All concrete is not the same. Do you know what to ask for when planning a landscape project that includes concrete? For example, there are many types of concrete mixes available, and if you don't request a premium mix, you'll likely get a bargain mix, and a driveway or patio made with a bargain mix is not a bargain at all. We use only premium concrete mixes from trusted producers, and our decorative concrete and masonry features are crafted by our own artisans, not subcontractors. There's so much to consider when preparing for your landscaping project. Brett Ochtenhagen Seasonal Services has been serving southeastern Wisconsin since 1994. We are an established, trusted landscape contractor. Please call 262-392-3444 or look for us online at seasonalservices.com.
It's This Week with Annex Wealth Management. I'm Dan O'Donnell, joined by the president and CEO of Annex, Dave Spano. And this week, Dave, it seems like finally, at long last, the markets and the Fed are seeing eye to eye.
Yeah, that's really true. You know, we were looking at a number of rate cuts throughout 2024. The markets had expected 6 early on when the Fed was indicating 3. Either way, we're going to see some rate cuts. But right now, the Fed is coming back to reality. There's probably going to be rate cuts, and the market's starting to think there might only be 3 or 4, not the 6 that they wanted. And why that's important is that we're still going to get rate cuts as we go into the year. How many and when is obviously the question. Probably not in March with the meeting coming up, but more likely later in the year because inflation is stickier. I know people don't want to hear that, but what we're starting to see is prices still staying higher than the Fed's target. Why is that important? Because the rates right now, if they start to come back down too soon, inflation may stick around longer than they want. So you got to go through your portfolio and say, because rates are going to move, what's that going to mean for mortgage rates? What's it going to mean for my bond portfolio? And as important, what is it going to mean for your stock portfolio, Dan? All of this goes into making sure you know what you own, why you own it, and how much you're paying for it.
Yeah, and this is why you really do need to head to annexwealth.com, because what were we expecting years ago in 2024? A recession. We might get a soft landing. We might not get a landing at all. Then we were expecting rate cuts up the wazoo that were going to push markets even higher. Well, it turns out we're not getting that. The market moves quickly. Things change quickly, especially in an election year. And that's why you need a review of your portfolio. It's a wealth metric available at annexwealth.com. For Dave Spano, president and CEO of Annex, I'm Dan O'Donnell. Thanks for listening to This Week with Annex Wealth Management.
Doug. With Liberty Mutual, you can customize and save hundreds on your car insurance. But what to buy with those savings? Yep, I bought a sound effects machine.
Only pay for what you need at LibertyMutual.com. Savings may vary. Underwritten by Liberty Mutual Insurance Company and affiliates. Excludes Massachusetts.
Liberty, 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 liberty.
Welcome back to Ask Hasselus.
What's the deal with leap year?
It gives Hasselus customers an extra night of sleep on their new mattresses. Plus, the term leap year was inspired by people leaping for joy over Hasselus Rewards Cash.
Rewards Cash?
Through Monday, purchase a Beautyrest, Sealy Posturepedic, or Serta Perfect Sleeper, and you'll get a $200 MasterCard Rewards gift card.
Nice.
Remember, you can't spell sleep without leap.
That's not how it's... never mind.
Find a no-hassle, employee-free showroom near you at Hasselus.com.
At Consumer Cellular, you get the same exact coverage as the largest carriers, but for up to half the cost. Same thing, up to half the cost. Up to half the cost for the same thing. 50% the money for 100% the same thing. I hope I'm making myself clear. Consumer Cellular. When freedom calls, we're here to answer. Call us at 1-888-FREEDOM.
Half the cost savings based on cost of Consumer Cellular single-line 5GB data plan with unlimited talk and text compared to lowest cost single-line postpaid unlimited talk, text, and data plan offered by T-Mobile and Verizon May 2023.
I know, some houses are strange, weird, need significant repairs, perhaps just really tough to sell. I get it. You feel you need to pay 6% to sell it, and maybe you truly do. This is Bob Tarantino from Redefined Realty. If you have a property that is kind of normal, generally really nice, maybe even just plain stunning, the Redefined Realty 3.99% commission plan will get the job done just fine. Our marketing is amazingly similar to the 6% brokers. We're even in the same local MLS. Visit redefinedrealty.com for details and a free market analysis.
You have no idea how badly I want to move on, folks, really. But this does get to the heart of sort of where we are as a country, where we are in politics in 2024, the double standards of justice, whether or not it is morally and legally acceptable to break the law to defeat your political opponent. Is the end justified, or are the means justified by the end? I mean, this is sort of where we're at, and I'm not excusing nor am I doubting that Democrat behavior is what started this. It's this idea that Trump is so evil. We saw this before with George W. Bush. Hell, we saw this before with Reagan. Basically, any time the modern American left, which I would argue was born in the boomer Marxist radical era of the 1970s with the anti-war protests there too, long before even Nixon, the anti-war protests, anything to get our boys home, right? Anything to end this war. When you operate with that as your guiding philosophy, it really takes you to a dark place. I'm not denying that Republicans need to fight on the same battlefield as Democrats, right? Nobody is saying, hey, do things that might be of questionable ethics, ballot harvesting. Is it legal? Well, according to the Dems, yeah. So remember when Rebecca Clayfish said, yeah, we need to do ballot harvesting, and Kevin Nicholson said, nah, that's dumb as a box of hammers or bag of hammers or something like that. I said, that's ridiculous. If it's legal, if it is a advantage that is available to you, you should do it. There's a big difference between that, though, and criminal conspiracy. There's a big difference between that and knowingly violating the law. Let's say you say, well, Dan, there's no philosophical problem with that. And I've been getting a lot of texts, dozens, in fact, saying, well, Dan, the Democrats do it. We need to do it or we're going to keep losing. That may be. But even if you have no moral qualms about that, think about this. How many Democrat district attorneys are there in counties where there is a whole lot of political activity in this state? Pretty much every one, right? Milwaukee and Madison especially. And if you do anything with politics, theoretically, you can be, if it has to do with the legislature or something like that, you could be charged in Dane County. Do you think the Dane County District Attorney Ishmael Ozon would have any qualms about prosecuting his or Biden's or Evers' political enemies? Of course not. Do you think Republicans would have an issue charging Democrats? Yeah, we've seen it over and over and over again. In fact, here in this state, criminal charges referred for the Mount Pleasant nursing home. The Racine County Sheriff's Department said we should be criminally charging the members of the Election Commission who said to these nursing home staffers, yeah, you can violate the law. Now, the Racine County DA, who is a Republican and a fairly conservative one, said, no, I don't think a prosecution should come for state employees, for state appointed officials from a local prosecutor. That should come from the state, which I tend to agree with. Just look at all the mess that was made of the local prosecution of Governor Walker in what became known as John Doe 2, where John Chisholm, Milwaukee County DA, launches this massive investigation and tries to criminalize protected political donations and speech. There is a double standard. Nobody, least of all me, who spends an inordinate amount of time reporting on it and highlighting it, will deny that. But understand, if you're going to try to justify to yourself, okay, this person, whether it be Joe Biden or Tony Evers or Robin Vos, is so bad that any conduct, even criminal conduct, can be justified to take him down. That conduct will be investigated by Democrat district attorneys. It will be charged, and it will be prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law. Let's go to Charlie in Brookfield. Charlie, you're on the Dan O'Donnell Show.
Hey, Dan. I think you kind of hit a lot of the points I was gonna articulate. I'm really conflicted by this because it's the tactics we employ. We can pat ourselves all the way on the back, all the way to Democrat control, but that's setting up our state and building our families for a horrible future.
Yeah.
And so when I look at what's legal and illegal, let's maybe take a step back and say what's right and what's wrong. And I think, in this instance, it's $40,000 that were, given to a candidate that had an agenda, and a lot of people apparently agreed with that agenda. But I think what's really troubling here is the arbiters, like you just pointed out, the arbiters of justice in the state only see one side to pick on. And we really need to rethink our tactics if we're going to be able to succeed in bringing conservative values, conservative wins to the state. Oddly enough, we're talking about Vos, and that's kind of what he articulated the other day, is about wins versus ideology. But I think we have to kind of integrate those two concepts here pretty soon to say our ideology and our tactics need to be employed on what's going to win, because I could give a rip right now about $40,000 going to steel or whatever. But anyway, that's where I find myself today.
Like, ultimately, is it that big of a thing? No. I mean, it's kind of a law that's sort of ridiculous, right? You can give unlimited amounts of money to the party, but not candidates. But the party can give unlimited amount to candidates, but you can't say, hey, I'd like my donation to go to this candidate. It does seem kind of ridiculous on its face, doesn't it? But it is the law.
Yeah, agreed.
And it is how money is laundered. I mean, this is money. It was a money laundering operation for Steen, but $40,000, yeah, in the grand scheme of things, who cares, right? But think about the reporting we did a couple of months ago on the concept of the practice of smurfing, right? People were up in arms, and with good reason, that you would have these tiny little dollar donations going to Act Blue, going to various candidates to try to get around the contribution limits. They were tiny little donations made in the names of people who might not have even known that they made these donations. And in fact, thanks to a number of citizen journalists, they were actually able to demonstrate that, yeah, this is how this, they actually tracked them down. In one instance in Georgia, I think James O'Keefe, formerly of Project Veritas, actually went to their houses, some of the people who were making these donations that totaled $80,000, $90,000, $100,000, and asked, did you make these donations? Did you set up a recurring donation? And they said, well, no, or yeah, I did, but I donated $5, $10, and that was it. Did you donate $5 and $10 every single day for a consecutive year? No, of course not. So anyone who is upset by that, and the dollar amounts were truly staggering, I think should also be upset with something, even if it was as small potatoes as, relatively speaking, $40,000 to Steen. Mike in Milwaukee up next.
Yeah, so you touched on the Act Blue money laundering. It's like we have a Democrat DA that's looking into this, but we have nobody looking into the vastly larger amounts of money that were laundered through Act Blue and given to Josh Kaul or Janet Protasevich, whose races do way much more damage to our citizens in our state than our candidate running against Robin Vos.
Right, and the dollar amounts are that much bigger, but fundamentally is the underlying idea behind what motivates that level of financial and campaign finance fraud any different? right? We need to defeat Dan Kelly. We need to defeat Brad Schimmel, or who is running? Eric Toney. We need to defeat Eric Toney in 2022 so badly. And now there was new reporting from Peter Berniger, one of the citizen journalists who's spearheading this effort, looking into smurfing, that the Tim Michaels campaign was taking smurfed donations through WinRed, which is the big national fundraising apparatus, not to be confused with WisRed, which is the Waukesha County Republican Party effort to get as many conservative candidates elected in Waukesha County as possible. We're going to step aside for a break. The unhinged liberal of the day is coming up next here on the Dan O'Donnell Show.
Classical conservatism.
Contemporary style.
The Dan O'Donnell Show is coming right back.
Panic strikes as you realize on Wednesday that Thursday is your anniversary. The reservations being secured.
We'll see you at 8.
The gift being purchased. Yeah, you've got this. Just like Associated Bank's got you with early pay up to 2 days early on direct deposits. So even though they call you Last Minute Lisa, we'll make your last minute scrambling a bit easier. You've got this with early pay from Associated Bank. See associatedbank.com/checking or ask a banker for details. Member FDIC.
Sendix just bought 5 truckloads of delicious seafood and are passing the savings on to you. Check out these half-price deals today. Jumbo Canadian walleye fillets are just $7.99 a pound. And if you love shrimp, raw 31 to 35-count butterflied shrimp are $3.99 a pound. Sendix large Golden King crab legs are just $17.99 a pound. And premium farm-raised Chilean coho salmon fillets are just $6.99 a pound. Get your order in on these and other amazing seafood deals now at Sendix.com. Sendix, your trusted local grocer.
Struggling to get rid of those unwanted pounds? Stress, aging, and so many factors that are near impossible to control lead to diet and exercise resistant fat. Fat that's not your fault, but is for sure a problem. Well, until now. The doctors and experienced staff at a Younger You Medical Spa can help you get rid of stubborn, unwanted fat. With CoolSculpting, they have performed over 5,000 treatments to help clients feel fit and confident. This fat freezing procedure uses cooling to remove fat from areas such as thighs, stomach, love handles, arms, and underneath the chin. CoolSculpting is a non-surgical way to reduce fat and get the body you've always dreamed of. An FDA-cleared and clinically proven procedure that freezes unwanted fat cells for good with little to no downtime. And treatments are just under an hour. And with their amazing special of 50% off 8+ treatments, it's never been more affordable to transform your body for good. Book your free consultation now. A Younger You Medical Spa in Brookfield and Burlington, or at ayoungeryou.com.
The Spirit drove Jesus out into the desert, and he remained in the desert for 40 days, tempted by Satan. Hello, this is Archbishop Listecki. As we begin our Lenten journey, the world attempts to turn us away from the mission God established for all of us. During these 40 days, we courageously confront the demons of our world, and with confidence we pledge our commitment to Christ. Christ, who is truly present to us in the Eucharist at Mass. This Lent, join us for Mass.
Life insurance. Why are you putting it off? Can't afford it? Too much hassle? Think you don't need it? There's lots of excuses for putting off life insurance. But if you weren't there, who would pay the mortgage and other bills? With Ethos, you could be covered in 10 minutes and boom, family protected. Ethos. Fast and easy online term life insurance. Up to $2 million in coverage with no medical exam. Some policies as low as $1 a day. Answer a few health questions and get your free quote at getethos.com. That's getethos.com.
Sharks. Most people see them as a threat, but we see a potential cure. At UW Health Carbone Cancer Center, we're the only team in the world researching whether antibodies from sharks can be used to fight cancer. A discovery that would revolutionize the future of cancer care, turning possibilities into remarkable realities. So one day, instead of what if, we can ask what's next. UW Health Carbone Cancer Center. Remarkable.
In this week's Marketers Report, Dana Nussbaum, Executive Vice President, Worldwide Marketing at Warner Brothers Discovery, weighs in on regional audio marketing.
Although we're marketing at a very broad scale, it does include specific local markets, and that's the beauty of iHeart's network.
As the #1 audio company, iHeartMedia gives marketers access to the audiences, influencers, and data you need to grow. If you're a marketer, go to iHeartResults.com.
It's Nye's Hardware's Woodworking Show this Saturday 9 to 4. Tool vendors on site, show specials, and local woodworking enthusiasts. Catch deals like the DeWalt miter saw for $399.99. Get a free battery with select Milwaukee tools. Bosch router kits are $199.99. Enjoy Craig's show specials and get 10% off all Jet and Powermatic woodworking machines. This Saturday, February 24th from 9 to 4. Nye's, great hardware, big on tools. Highways 4145 and Q in Menominee Falls. Visit NAUShardware.com for details.
There's a reason people sold to Grandview Homes instead of using a real estate agent.
Very fair price. No real estate agent fees or closing costs.
Within weeks, we had closed and couldn't be happier.
Visit GrandviewHomes.com to discover the easiest and fastest way to sell a home.
Are you tired of exposing your retirement to stock market risk? How would you like the potential to participate in credited interest from market index returns and limit the downside? Join Joe Brown for the Safe Money and Income Radio Show on Sunday at 7:30 a.m. and 8 p.m.
Coming up after the news, the stories that made us laugh, that made us scratch our heads, the weirdest, the strangest, how bizarre, including the single most cringe congressional testimony I think I might have ever heard. That coming up at about 10:20-ish right now. It's time to name the unhinged liberal of the day.
Trump is Hitler.
We are in pre-Nazi Germany.
All white people are racist.
Does that make me crazy?
Trump is dangerous because he's evil.
America is over.
What is like the one overarching trait of pretty much all national journalists? Arrogance, I would argue. They think they're a lot smarter than everyone else. They think because of their education, because of their position, they are the most intelligent people this side of the Beltway. Heidi Przybyla is a national correspondent for Politico who's been doing extensive reporting on Christian nationalists. And on MSNBC, she had some interesting thoughts about what it is that Christian nationalists, those evil right-wing terrorists, believe.
The one thing that unites all of them, because there's many different groups orbiting Trump, but the thing that unites them as Christian nationalists, not Christians, by the way, because Christian nationalists is very different, is that they believe that our rights as Americans, as all human beings, don't come from any earthly authority. They don't come from Congress. They don't come from the Supreme Court. They come from God.
Yeah. Turns out Thomas Jefferson was a Christian nationalist because that is literally written into our Declaration of Independence, lady. Have you never read that? We are endowed by our Creator with certain unalienable rights. That among these are life, liberty, and, the thing. According to Joe Biden, life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Rights endowed by our Creator, by God. They are endemic within us as human beings. They aren't granted by a monarch. But now, this is radical right-wing thinking. This marks someone as a Christian nationalist. Heidi Przybyla, the smartest woman in every room. Your unhinged liberal of the day. Do you think she understood that at any point while the words were coming out of her mouth? They think rights come from God. How foreign. How bizarre. This is what the modern left does think of our country's tradition. It was founded on the principle that human beings aren't given rights, that human beings are given rights only from God, that there's nothing about government that is special, that can confer rights. Dan O'Donnell Show coming right back after this.
that's factual, fair, and balanced. This is continuing coverage on News Talk 1130 WISN, Milwaukee.
Good morning, I'm Tad Allen. The Wisconsin Assembly yesterday passes the Prince Act, which aims to address gaps in current requirements for Amber Alerts. The bill is named after Prince McCree. He was reported missing last October after an Amber Alert requested by Milwaukee police was never issued. The 5-year-old boy's body was found in a dumpster on Milwaukee's west side a day later. The new alert would go out for children who cannot return home without help or if the child is younger than 10. Madison State Representative Sheila Stubbs.
When their safety is endangered, our children deserve to be searched for as immediately and as thoroughly as possible.
After receiving prior approval from the Wisconsin Senate, the bill now goes to Governor Tony Evers' desk. 2 adults are in custody in connection with the disappearance of 3-year-old Elijah View in 2 Rivers. Arrests were made on 39-year-old Jesse Vang for a charge of child neglect and the missing boy's mother, 31-year-old Katrina Bauer, on a charge of child neglect party to the crime. The search for the missing toddler continues by law enforcement and many concerned citizens in 2 Rivers. This morning, President Biden announced more than 500 new sanctions on Russia over its war in Ukraine and the death of Russian opposition leader Alexei Navalny last week in prison. Biden said the sanctions would target those connected to Navalny's imprisonment, as well as Russia's financial sector, defense industrial base, and procurement networks. Checking the WISN Sports Scoreboard after a week off for the All-Star break, the Bucks get back into action on the road against the Minnesota Timberwolves tonight. From the Orthopedic Associates of Wisconsin News Center, I'm Ted Allen on Wisconsin's most listened to radio station, News Talk 1130 WISN.
The next time they ask you what size tires you need, just go to richlawns.com.
That's Richlawn spelled with 2 N's.
No more trying to read that tiny writing on the side of your old tires or on the inside of your car door.
Just go to richlawns.com, click on the year button, then the make and model of your vehicle, and
the exact tire size you need.
In a multitude of brands and styles.
Yet all specific to your vehicle, because at Richlawns, there isn't a tire on the planet we can't get.
And every tire we install automatically comes with free flat tire repair, which means you're 100% covered, no questions asked.
The next time you're due for tire service, visit richlawns.com.
Because free flat tire repair automatically comes with every tire we install.
I'm Brett Matchke with Richlawns, or due for service.
Since 1964, we've changed your tires and so much more. Richlawns Tire and Service, such a refreshing change. Richlawns.
Here's the latest forecast from the Fox 6 weather experts.
A sunny and mild start to the day, but a cold front cuts through, dropping temperatures and bringing some snow showers. We'll go from near 40 this morning down into the 20s this afternoon and this evening, and teens overnight tonight. I'm Fox 6 Chief Meteorologist Rob Haswell.
This report is sponsored by the Lynch Automotive family of dealerships.
It's Truck Month at Lynch. Purchase a Silverado or Sierra with 2.9% financing for 72 months. Or F-150 with 1.9% for 72 months. Or Ram with up to $4,500 in rebates. Visit shoplynch.com today.
Josh from Infinity here. The roofing and exterior modeling industry is notorious for painful, surprise hidden costs.
MJ here. We built Infinity with integrity, installing roof, siding, windows, and peace of mind.
Infinity's custom app eliminates costly, unpleasant roofing and exterior modeling upcharges, showing an absolute transparency every detail of your project.
We pay less, you pay less.
Infinity provides multiple budget options, including financing immediately.
Warranted, guaranteed quality, installing peace of mind. InfinityRoofing.com.
They used water to restore your wood? No wonder you need us. Well, don't worry. This time we'll do it right. You see, water raises the grain of wood, warps it, and opens splits and glue joints. It's the enemy of finished furniture. And that's why we only remove your finish chemically. It's not the cheap way, but it is the best way. For the finest in furniture finishing and heirloom restoration, by golly, it's Mullally. Mullally Furniture Finishing and Repair. Serving everywhere. Quality counts. MULLALY finishing.com. If you have a great piece and want to see if it's worth restoring, of course we can send someone out there. And no, we won't charge for the visit. We've been doing that for almost 50 years, along with pickups and deliveries, to get the beautiful piece that we restore back in your home safe and sound. And we'll guarantee your satisfaction to boot. So if you're looking for the finest in furniture finishing and heirloom restoration, by golly, it's Mullally. Mullally Furniture Finishing and Repair, where no job's too small. Serving everywhere, quality counts.
Hello, it's Terry from Suburban Asphalt. With the unusual spring-like weather we are having, Suburban Asphalt is ready to clean up your site and get you ready for spring. Annoying potholes, trip hazards, catch basin repairs, grinding, sweeping, grading, or even tree and branch cleanup, let us know how we can help. We have crews standing by. Call 414-425-5353 or go to suburbanasphalt.com for an estimate today.
Life insurance. Why are you putting it off? Can't afford it? Too much hassle? Think you don't need it? There's lots of excuses for putting off life insurance. But if you weren't there, who would pay the mortgage and other bills? With Ethos, you could be covered in 10 minutes and boom, family protected. Ethos. Fast and easy online term life insurance. Up to $2 million in coverage with no medical exam. Some policies as low as $1 a day. Answer a few health questions and get your free quote at getethos.com. That's getethos.com.
It's Nye's Hardware's Woodworking Show this Saturday 9 to 4. Tool vendors on site, show specials, and local woodworking enthusiasts. Catch deals like the DeWalt miter saw for $399.99. Get a free battery with select Milwaukee tools. Bosch router kits are $199.99. Enjoy Craig's show specials and get 10% off all Jet and Powermatic woodworking machines. This Saturday, February 24th from 9 to 4. Nye's. Great hardware, big on tools. Highways 4145 and Q in Menominee Falls. Visit neUSHardware.com for details.
Be sure to listen to the Annex Wealth Management Investment Show Saturday mornings at 11 and Sunday afternoons at 1 on News Talk 1130 WISN. Annex provides its expertise to arm listeners with the knowledge and tools to invest wisely. Annex Wealth Management. Know the difference.
iHeartRadio is the easy-to-use app for music and radio. Download the free iHeartRadio app today.
Engagement rings, wedding bands, and big anniversary diamonds.
Welcome to Kessler's.
Classical conservatism, contemporary style. It's the Dan O'Donnell Show. Our weekly look back at the strangest stories of the past 7 days. How bizarre. Coming up in just a little bit, we are watching a feed from the White House as President Biden is expected to any moment now address the nation's governors. If I gave you all 50, and you had to tell me which one found a way while milling about talking to other governors was right in front of the camera. I mean, front and center for at least the last 5 minutes. Yeah, of course it was Gavin Newsom. He's just there. You know, he looks pretty good in the White House, doesn't he? Looks great. You know who is on camera right now talking to, is that Burgum? He's talking to Doug Burgum. Governor Tony Evers having a chat with the eyebrow himself, Doug Burgum. Yeah, we did identify Doug Burgum. You can see his eyebrows from Wisconsin. So Biden is expected to speak. Tony Evers is there. I just thought that was hilarious. Yeah, they kind of moved out. He was having a conversation with someone. Dave and I were watching. We're like, who do you think he's talking to? And sure enough, the guy he was talking to sort of moved into frame. We're both like, that's Burgum. I can see his eyebrows from here. But yeah, Gavin Newsom, of course, he knew exactly where that camera pit was. And he knew exactly where to be. He's just right in front of the camera, just looking slick as can be, reminding America that he's here. He's ready. He can serve just in case you decide Biden's too old. Kamala Harris literally is Selena Meyer from the HBO show Veep. We don't want to go down that route. Hey, he runs the biggest state in the country. He's got a lot of experience. And hey, doesn't he look good on camera? 414-799-1130 is our AdventNews.com talk and text line. If at any point you'd like to join the show, 1-800-838-9476 is our toll-free talk and text text line. Email me, dod@iheartmedia.com, at Dan O'Donnell Show on X, where you can watch the show streaming live via the Dan O'Cam, as well as on Facebook at Dan O'Donnell Show there too, and youtube.com/Dan O'Donnell Show as well. Some breaking news late last night in the disappearance of a 3-year-old boy.
2 people tied to the boy are in custody. Right now, we've learned the mother of Elijah View, Katrina Bauer, and a man who lived at their home, Jesse Vang, are both being held in the Manitowoc County Jail on child neglect charges. No formal charges have been filed yet, and police haven't said whether these charges are connected to the boy's disappearance. It's possible they could be appearing in court tomorrow. The boy was reported missing on Tuesday, but again, police are staying tight-lipped about the circumstances. Authorities were out searching landfills and local rivers today.
Now, that was Fox 6, by the way, their report from the 9 o'clock news last night. Both suspects do have criminal records. The problem is there are a number of Jesse Vangs in the circuit court access system. I couldn't tell immediately which one was the correct Jesse Vang. But Katrina Bauer does have mostly misdemeanor, operating while revoked, that sort of thing. Nothing real major. As a disorderly conduct from about 10 years ago or so. But it does appear to me that neither of these 2 people are strangers to the criminal justice system. However, I can't tell. There are a number of Jesse Vangs, and they all live in the exact same area, if you can believe that. They've all moved around a lot. It makes it impossible to tell which Jesse Vang, because I don't have an age, I don't have a birthday. They are being held on child neglect charges, but based on where the search is being conducted, I would suspect that this is no longer a missing child investigation, but tragically it is a murder. I think that was obvious. Anytime a child that young isn't located within 24 hours, heck, probably within 12 hours, you're probably looking at a death, unfortunately. They're searching rivers and landfills, not because that's somewhere where the boy would wander off to, but where a body would be disposed. And I'm sorry if that disturbs anyone, but this is just the reality. It's a sad reality of this type of investigation. It does seem as though this was, I don't even want to venture a guess as to what happened here, so we'll let this process play out. But I can tell you, even though police aren't saying it, there is a homicide investigation. They're holding the 2 of them because they are suspected of murdering Elijah View, unfortunately, or Vu. Some more upbeat news. Our entire past is going to be erased by woke AI. Isn't that fun? Have you been following the woke Google AI story? Probably not as closely as I am, because this means a whole lot more than just, silly, oh my gosh, you ask Google AI, it's called Gemini, for a picture of America's founding fathers, and it spits out a black dude in a white wig. You ask for a picture of a Roman gladiator, and there's an Asian woman. It's diversity run amok, to be sure, but this wasn't a bug. And don't let the fact that Google AI, there was apparently some high-ranking Google executive who contacted Elon Musk. Musk, of course, posted about it on X. And he said, they've assured me that they are working on this and trying to get better. This wasn't a bug. This was a feature. They just were so blatant about it because AI programming is still in its infancy. They didn't know how to make their biases less obvious. It is practically impossible to get, or at least it was, to get the Google AI image generation. They paused it for a couple of days, maybe a week, I don't know, while they're, de-racisting it so that you can actually find images of white people. But anytime, and users have been doing this, I've actually played around with this as well. If you ask, hey, write a poem about Donald Trump. One of my very favorite writers, Stephen L. Miller of American Spectator, had write a song about Donald Trump in the style of Taylor Swift. And the Google Gemini program said, I'm sorry, I can't do that. If you want more information on politics, do Google search. Okay, well, sure, it's not going to wade into politics. Do a song about Kamala Harris in the style of Taylor Swift. The exact same search. It spits out, admittedly, a pretty darn good song about Kamala Harris and how great she is. If you say, hey, Google Genesis, tell me about some contributions to society that white Americans have made. It'll say, I'm sorry, I can't do that because I don't want to, split people up by race. Okay, fine. Hey, Google Gemini, give me some contributions to American society that black Americans have made. Boom, massive list instantly. You don't get that sort of search result unless it is specifically programmed to give you that search result. This also is in keeping with a disturbing trend. You might remember that back when we were tearing down statues of every former slave owner in the United States, every Confederate back in 2020. Remember that? And Trump said, where does this stop? Are they going to take down statues of Thomas Jefferson? Sure did. City Hall in New York. Statues of George Washington? You'd better believe it. They're erasing history to try to diminish the contributions or erase from anyone's memory the contributions of the people and, more importantly, the value system that this country was based on. The value system that they believe in, communism, socialism, the idea of the collective, not the individual, is something that the founders thoroughly rejected. They understood the value of the collective. They understood we're going to organize ourselves into colonies and then states and then form a nation. But they thoroughly rejected the idea of this strong central government. And yes, I know the debate was between the Hamilton faction and the Jefferson faction about how strong that central government should be, whether there should be a central bank, yada, yada, yada. We've never seen strength or dominance of the federal government over the citizenry or over the states like we have now. And it's been a long slog, sort of punctuated by periods of dramatic federal expansion under FDR, under LBJ, under Barack Obama, now under Joe Biden. Every single time it seems like a Democrat gets into power, with the possible exception of a couple of caretakers like Jimmy Carter, you have this massive expansion of the federal state. And post-1970, when, again, the boomer Marxists made socialism and made communism and made Soviet-style governance and Soviet-style political and social tactics mainstream, we have had something that the founders just would totally not recognize. And it's there in their writing. Every single thing that they set up, well, of course the modern left has to destroy. This is just like the Bolshevik Revolution in the 1917. They had to get rid of all of the vestiges of the czars. They had to execute Tsar Nicholas and his entire family. They had to, and by the way, we were talking about this, how every Russian gets poisoned. And I said the only Russian who wasn't poisoned was Rasputin. Turns out I forget my Russian history. They did shoot Rasputin and then dump his body in a river after they poisoned him, and the poisoning didn't work. I'm telling you, every Russian eventually gets poisoned. You know what's going to happen to Vladimir Putin? No, he's not going to die of old age. He's going to be poisoned. That's what the Russians do. But they had to remove every single vestige. What did the communists do? What did the Castros and Che Guevara do when they took over Cuba? They got rid of everything that had to do with the previous Batista regime. You're just not allowed to celebrate Batista. You're not allowed to celebrate the czars. You're not allowed to celebrate the founding fathers. Your only heroes are heroes of the revolution. This is how, and when you have artificial intelligence, Google dominates search, folks. Google is easily, I think, the most powerful entity when it comes to politics. Far more powerful even than the DOJ charging political opponents because it shapes perception. It so dominates search that when you search for something, and its browser now, what is the Google web browser called? Chrome. Almost everybody used Chrome because Microsoft has been, even though they have the operating system that almost everybody uses when they're using a laptop or a desktop, they still, after all these years, have not been able to make a web browser that works. I'm telling you, they got rid of Internet Explorer, and Microsoft Edge might actually be worse. So everybody immediately, myself included, uses Chrome. Well, you search something automatically unless you set your browser extension to search with Bing or search with DuckDuckGo or something like that. You're going to search with Google. Well, what Google will show on the first page and the first couple of results of search is nobody goes further than like the third page of Google. Seriously, there have been studies done on this. The first page of a Google search result is critical. Now what happens when search is gradually, and this is what's going to happen, search is, because they think it's a much better option, they're going to replace search engines with artificial intelligence, where the future isn't you're going to type in Donald Trump last speech. You're already seeing it with Siri and Alexa and all of these chat assistants. Well, once AI sort of is at a place where it takes over, you're just going to say, hey, AI, I want to hear Donald Trump's last speech. You're not going to be able to search for it anymore. You're going to be dependent on this artificial intelligence to show it to you. And what do we know about the media and Donald Trump's speeches? They won't show them. They don't think you should be able to show it. So you've got the gatekeeping from the media, the traditional media. Now you've got gatekeeping from algorithms that are programmed not to show you something even as basic as a representative example of who the founding fathers or who the Vikings or who a medieval peasant in England would be. I hate to break it to you, folks. There weren't a lot of Asian women who fell victim to the Black Death in France. There just weren't. A lot of Asian women fell victim to the Black Death in China. Once again, what is it with China? Like pretty much every one of the worst plagues in history originates in China. Yes, I know the Spanish flu, it did not. It originated in Kansas, by the way. The point, though, is that if you control history, as well as if you control the perception of history, control the perception of the present, news, information, you control wholly the flow of information, you control a populace. This is why for years, forever, since the dawn of talk radio, what was the left trying to do to Rush Limbaugh when he was the only dude back in the 80s? And then shortly after, Mark Belling locally. What were they trying to do? They weren't trying to refute him. They weren't saying, hey, Rush, I want to go on your show and debate you. They were saying Rush and Belling and all those guys, the OGs of talk radio, they were dangerous. We need to shut them down. This is something that people can't hear because they threatened the monopoly. Because they threatened the free flow of information. What happened as soon as Elon Musk bought Twitter and turned it into X? What did they do? Massive investigations into him. Oh my God, Elon Musk can't be trusted with government contracts to send NASA cargo and astronauts into space. All of this happened solely because he was a threat to the monopoly of information. Should we go to Biden for a split second? Biden is addressing the National Association of Governors. Let's dip in for just a second, then we'll get to how bizarre.
Well, Jill enjoys traveling to her states and to advance priorities like education and workforce development. And thanks to Kamala for her leadership and her incredible partnership across the board. And the members of our cabinet, including former governor, and we have two former governors here. Are they both here today? Governor Raimondo? And Where's my Secretary of Agriculture? Is he here? Well, he's going to be here tomorrow. Tom Vilsack is going to be here tomorrow. My Republican friends, I got bad news for you. I actually like working with you. And it reminds me of the days I was in the Senate. Things, we'd argue like hell, and then we'd get things done. And but look, before I begin, I want to say a few words about an important anniversary that we mark tomorrow. 2 years ago, shortly before dawn, Russian troops marched across the border in Ukraine. And Putin believed he could easily bend the will and break the resolve of the free people of Ukraine. That he could roll into Ukraine and he would roll over them. 2 years later, he remains wrong. He didn't do that. He wasn't able to do that. Kyiv is still standing. Ukraine is still free. And the people of Ukraine remain unbowed and unbroken in the face of Putin's vigorous onslaught. This is due to their sheer bravery and their sacrifice, but it's also due to us. Remember, the United States pulled together a coalition of more than 50 nations to support Ukraine. We unified and expanded NATO. We can't walk away now. And that's what Putin is betting on. He's betting on we're going to walk away. That's why I'll be speaking to the G7 folks, so some of the heads of the European Union and NATO today. That's why I'm announcing more than 500 new sanctions in response. In response to Putin's brutal war of conquest, in response to Alexei Navalny's death, because make no mistake, Putin is responsible for Alexei's death. Yesterday, I met with Alexei's wife and daughter in California, where his daughter attends college. Alexei was an incredibly courageous man. His family is courageous as well. I assured them his legacy will continue to live around the world, and we in the United States are going to continue to ensure that Putin pays the price for his aggression abroad and repression at home. But let me be clear. The House of Representatives must pass the bipartisan national security bill. The bill provides urgent funding for Ukraine, and it passed overwhelmingly in the Senate. And there's no question, none. If the Speaker called for a vote in the House, it would pass easily today. Instead, they went on vacation. I mean, it's just, well. Look, folks, all kidding aside, history's watching. The clock is ticking. Brave Ukrainian soldiers and civilians are dying. Russia is taking Ukraine territory for the first time in many months. But here in America, the Speaker gave the House a 2-week vacation. They have to come back. They have to come back and get this done.
This guy seriously has spent 40% of his presidency on vacation. I think he's going back to Delaware again right after this speech. Is he seriously saying this right now?
Thank all you governors here and I urge you, if you agree with me, and many of you do, to urge your congressional representatives to force this bill to be brought up. America can be, to prove America can be relied upon. America stands up for freedom. We never bow to anyone, particularly Putin. Look, folks, now...
I'm sorry. I never thought I would live to see the day that it would be Democrats fighting for endless wars, proxy wars, and fighting against the Russians. It seriously is a remarkable turnaround just in the last couple of years. And exactly what is the end game? I have yet to get a serious answer. Look, I support the halting of Russian aggression. No nation should invade a sovereign nation, especially one that is allied with the United States like Ukraine is. But what is the ultimate goal here? Like, what is does this end with Zelensky taking Moscow? Like, what is victory? When all Russian troops are expelled? The past year of fighting would suggest that that's probably not possible, no matter how many billions the United States gives. I hate to say it, because this does have the effect of rewarding this sort of territorial expansion by the Russians. But at some point, there needs to be a press for a permanent ceasefire. If we can demand a ceasefire from Israel, we can probably demand a ceasefire from Ukraine as well, right? What's the difference other than one country is full of Jewish people, that we need a ceasefire in Gaza, and we can't have an expansion of that war effort into Rafah, but the Ukrainians get a blank check to just keep fighting forever? I don't know. We're going to lighten the mood. We're going to take a look back at the strangest stories of the week. How bizarre, coming up next.
This is Michael Lynch from the Lynch Truck Center. We've been working hard sourcing work trucks from all over the country. We currently have over 300 commercial work trucks in stock and ready for your choice of upfit. Our sales team is 100% dedicated to commercial trucks, which means our truck professionals can get you the right truck right now. Our new inventory of Chevrolet, GMC, Isuzu, Hino, not to mention our used inventory, combined with nearly 30 commercial financial lenders, ensures the lowest rates possible for you and the fastest buying experience. Our service center has over 20 dedicated truck bays running 2 shifts, a contact-free sales process, and delivery drivers ready to deliver your truck right to your door. We know your time is important, so we make sure our process is quick and hassle-free. Find your new truck today at lynchtruckcenter.com or stop into the Lynch Truck Center at Highway 36 in Waterford. We won't disappoint you.
Maybe you've heard switching to Medishare to pay for health care can save the typical family $500 a month. And that's huge. But it's also true that people are way more satisfied after making the switch, too. The customer satisfaction rate is double that of the typical health insurance plan. Double. So maybe you're self-employed or part of the gig economy, or you just want a plan you're much happier with. Here's the number you need. 844-53-BIBLE. That's 844-53-BIBLE.
Join News Talk 1130 this Saturday at 4 p.m. for The Word on Medicine, the show that brings you the latest medical innovations and discoveries by physicians and scientists at the Medical College of Wisconsin. That's Saturday afternoon at 4 on News Talk 1130, WISN.
On Brookfield MediSpa's regenerative aesthetic therapies stimulate your own tissues, your own cells to rejuvenate your own skin, providing incredibly natural-looking results that continue to repair, restore, and improve your skin over time. Your body, your life, your skin. Love it. drbonS.com.
Market volatility, global issues, inflation, still. More than a few headwinds this year. That's probably why Americans feel uncertain about their financial futures. Boomers, not much room for error. Gen X might need more than a 401k. And for millennials, it's time to get real about saving and investing. Talk to Annex Wealth Management. Build security with a partner on your side for unbiased advice. You may need more than investments. That's why Annex delivers tax and estate planning. There's an Annex plan personalized for you. Click the Get Started button at annexwealth.com.
As the owners of Reality Construction, we look forward to being bottom line accountable to every home remodeling client.
Our financing includes the tens of thousands of dollars in equity your new luxury kitchen, luxury basement, and luxury bath create.
RealityConstructionLLC.com.
Hi, my name is Joseph Hastreiter, owner of EWH University. Listen in every Sunday at 11 a.m. on WISN and let me show you better strategies for increasing sales and generating more business.
How bizarre! How bizarre! How bizarre!
It is that time of the week when we stop focusing on the serious and focus on the silly, the strange, the stories that make us laugh, that make us occasionally weep for the state of humanity, but always make us scratch our heads, cock an eyebrow, and say,
how bizarre! How bizarre! How bizarre!
One of the more bizarre and deeply troubling bits of congressional testimony you will ever hear. A few days ago, Dr. Bonnie Jenkins from the Biden administration was before Congress, and Brian Mast grilled her about her and the Biden administration's position that there must be a two-state solution for Israel and Palestine.
We support a two-state solution.
Okay. Have you looked at that objectively?
What do you mean, have you looked at it objectively?
Have you analyzed that objectively?
This is something that we do support, yeah.
That's not an answer. Have you analyzed a second Palestinian state objectively? Have you analyzed it objectively?
I'm not sure exactly what you're asking. Have I personally analyzed it?
You don't know what it means to objectively analyze something?
Know what it means to objectively analyze.
Okay, so have you done that?
No, I have not. If I understand your question.
You might not be, because I can't believe that you would answer it in that way. Let me just start over. You're here representing support for a Palestinian state, correct?
Yes.
Have you analyzed that support objectively?
Yes.
But you just said no. So
I'm trying to understand what you're saying.
I thought I made it pretty simple, but you said no. But I'll grant you that now you said yes, you have looked at it objectively.
It's entirely possible Dr. Jenkins has no idea what objective analysis means. From there, Mast questioned her about, okay, you want a two-state solution. According to your objective analysis, who do you think should lead it? She refused to answer. Finally, there was the question, okay, Israel was the victim of a massive terror attack, a genocidal terror attack, in fact. Why should we reward these people?
It is my testimony that the border is secure. The border is closed. The border is secure.
That's not the correct soundbite. Very bizarre that we don't have the correct soundbite, producer Dave. That was, in fact, the border is secure montage. Jenkins, unsurprisingly, would not answer why that the victim of an attempted genocide would be punished and the committer, the country that committed that genocide, would in fact be rewarded. Do you know what makes this especially strange, that Dr. Bonnie Jenkins struggled this badly? She currently serves as the Undersecretary for State Arms Control and International Security Affairs. In other words, this is stuff she probably should have known.
How bizarre! How bizarre! How bizarre!
We got to cut this short because we do have an interview coming up in just a couple of minutes with an old friend of the Dan O'Donnell Show who's doing something very cool. The Anti-Defamation League claims that right-wing extremists committed all the extremist-related murders in 2023, including the one in Nashville committed by a transgender radical. Now, this is bizarre because Steven Crowder, you might recall, released 3 pages of the shooter's manifesto, which police confirmed were legitimate back in November. And the shooter, a white female, identified as male, went by the name Aiden, expressed hatred for white people, expressed hatred for pretty much everybody, but because she used the F word, a slur for gay people, she was also considered to be a right-wing extremist. The left-wing transgender socialist who hated what she called crackers. Got it. Ladies and gentlemen, your Anti-Def League. And your strangest stories of the past 7 days in a segment we call
How Bizarre! How Bizarre! How Bizarre!
AccuNet Mortgage is an equal housing lender. NMLS ID 255368.
Steve and Ashley heard our radio ads over the years, and when it came time to buy their first home, clicked on the blue button. One of our senior loan consultants, Brad, sent them a credit-verified pre-approval the same day and then upgraded to a rock-solid, fully verified and guaranteed pre-approval shortly thereafter. They made a couple offers without success, and then Brad told them about AccuNet's new property-specific pre-approval, where we might be able to include those magic words, no appraisal required. When they wrote their next offer, several $1,000s over asking to make sure someone else didn't end up sleeping in their dream home, their property-specific rock-solid guaranteed pre-approval included that most powerful phrase, no appraisal required, and the sellers picked Steve and Ashley's offer over several others. If you think all mortgage lenders and pre-approvals are the same, think again. Go with a local mortgage lender that has the tools and know-how to help you win and save money, too. Click on the blue button today at ACCUNET.com.
Dan O'Donnell here for Mander Collision and Glass, the best decision after a collision. And you hear me talking all the time about how great Mander is, but here's customer Amber, who writes, the quality of customer service at Mander in Muskego has far exceeded my expectations. After being involved in an accident, not my fault, and having experienced some significant difficulties communicating with the individual that hit me, Mander went above and beyond to ensure my needs were being met. met. I have never felt so confident and secure as a customer. The staff truly has their customers' best interests at heart and shows it through their actions. Thank you, Mander, for alleviating my stress through an undesirable chain of events. Thanks so much for sharing your experience, Amber, because that's yet another reason why I recommend Mander so highly. Now with 6 locations to serve you, Mander truly is your best decision after a collision.
Well, that's why you have to check out our website. We're pretty proud of our before and after photos because they show off just how good we really are. I can confidently say that whatever you bring us, we're going to use every bit of magic we have to turn it into a one-of-a-kind work of art. So if you're looking for the finest in furniture finishing and heirloom restoration, by golly, it's Mullally. Mullally Furniture Finishing and Repair. Serving everywhere. Quality counts. Mullally finishing.com. If it's worth restoring, we're going to tell you. If it's not worth the cost of restoring, then we're going to give you an honest answer. You don't stay in the furniture finishing business for nearly 50 years unless you're honest and talented. Luckily, we're both, and that means all of your expectations will be met. So if you want only the finest in furniture finishing and heirloom restoration, by golly, it's Mullally. Mullally Furniture Finishing and Repair. We're no job's too small. Serving everywhere. Quality counts.
I'm Brett Ochtenhagen, owner of Brett Ochtenhagen Seasonal Services. I frequently speak with people who are unhappy with their landscaping and they're unsure how to turn things around. Well, here are 4 tasks that will make a remarkable improvement to dull landscaping. Number 1, thick, lush green grass. We need food and water to be healthy. Our lawn care programs and irrigation systems provide your grass with everything it needs to thrive. Number 2, pruning. Regular, technically correct pruning keeps plants strong and vibrant. Number 3, plant bed edging and a fresh layer of bark mulch. There's nothing better than the look of crisp bed edges and fresh mulch. Number 4, landscape lighting. You finally have your landscaping looking its best. A landscape lighting system lets your landscaping come alive after dark. So there you are, 4 landscaping tips that amplify the beauty of your home. Please call Seasonal Services at 262-392-3444 or look for us online at seasonalservices.com.
Skip waiting for a table. Enjoy a homemade fish fry every Friday at Sendik's. Enjoy 3 pieces of beer-battered, wild-caught Northern Atlantic cod with your choice of Sendik's original potato pancakes or French fries. Your meal comes with all the fixins: fresh rye bread, creamy coleslaw, homemade applesauce, and Sendik's tartar sauce. Or choose from fried shrimp, walleye fillets, or baked cod. Every Friday from 11 a.m. to 7 p.m. at your neighborhood Sendik's. Sendik's Food Markets, your trusted local grocer.
Many states don't allow newly built homeowners to move in until furnace ducts are sealed because sealing ducts saves energy. Even in brand new homes, Clean Living Environments will save you money for life. Get more out of your ducts, cleanlivingenvironments.com. That's cleanlivingenvironments.com.
Hi, Bob Pucci for the Take Kid Hunting Foundation. We're having the Waukesha Gun Show this weekend at the Waukesha Expo next to the airport. Show hours are Friday from 3 p.m. to 8, Saturday 9 to 5, and Sunday 9 to 3. Admission is $8, 14 under are free.
Hello, America. It's Ted from Consumer Cellular, the guy in the orange sweater, and this is your wake-up call. If you don't have Consumer Cellular yet, now is the perfect time to switch and save. For a limited time, new customers can get wireless service for as low as $15 a month for your first year. Yep, the same exact nationwide coverage as the leading carriers for $15 a month for an entire year. What are you waiting for? Call 1-888-FREEDOM or visit consumercellular.com and use code RADIO15.
See consumercellular.com/firstyear15 for promotional details.
Infinity's app shows precise costs of your new roof, providing peace of mind.
Infinity costs less, and the price we quote is surprise-free.
Because we pay less, you pay less. Warranted, guaranteed quality.
Installing peace of mind. InfinityRoofing.com.
For more information about contests on News Talk 1130 WISN, go to newstalk1130.com/rules.
Visit FrilloHomeImprovements.com.
Frillo.
Welcome back to the Dano O'Donnell Show 2 years ago, almost. One of the best pieces of journalism in Milwaukee, investigative journalism, documentary journalism, I have truly ever seen was produced. It wasn't produced by a local television station. It wasn't produced by public TV or public radio. It was produced by a YouTuber by the name of Tommy G. Now, Tommy is back. He is presenting a charity event on March 7th. That's a Thursday night at the Oriental Theater. There are going to be screenings of 2 documentaries that I think you might be interested in. And all of the proceeds, 100%, going to a new gym that Tommy is starting to get inner city teens and youths in Milwaukee off of the streets and onto a wrestling mat to try to get them to do something productive. Tommy G joins me now. Sir, how you been?
Dan, thank you for having me on. Life is good, man.
That's fantastic. So you sort of took my advice. You're still YouTubing. You're still doing that, but you have really branched out. I've seen a couple more of your filmed, very impressive work. You're doing a lot more documentaries now.
That's all we're focusing on. We're trying to get into the weeds, get into the underworld, and bring the American people the things that just mainstream media won't show them.
So what are these documentaries that you're going to be screening at the Oriental Theater on the 7th about?
The first one is the journey of fentanyl through America. Fentanyl is replacing crack and heroin in the drug market, and so many people are overdosing. I mean, it's the most deadly drug that we've ever seen. And so I go from the Mexican-Arizona border, because 50% of fentanyl goes through Arizona, and I talk to dealers, I talk to users, I talk to friends and family members of the addicts, and so I talk to every character in this game, and I think I get a deeper dive than almost anyone has ever gotten on the business of fentanyl. So I go into a lot of sketchy places, a lot of dangerous situations, and this is something that we all can see live at the Oriental Theater.
What was your ultimate conclusion about the fentanyl trade and how it's trafficked into America?
Well, it starts in China, and it makes its way to Mexico. The drug cartels bring it through the border through various ways of smuggling it, and then dealers all across California, Texas, and Arizona are getting it deeper into the country. So I was in an apartment of a guy that shows me how he ships it through the U.S. Postal Service to, thousands of pills to Chicago, thousands of pills to New York. So we really get to see how this is actually moving.
That's incredible. It's just amazing. I don't want you to reveal your sources. How did you get in with a fentanyl trafficker? I mean, it's just amazing how you're able to embed yourself with the Kia boys. You get their trust, and now you're embedding yourself with drug cartels. I do hope I don't want to sound like your dad here, Tommy, but I do hope you're taking proper precautions. You're being as safe as you can here.
Well, here's the thing. I mean, these are people too. So what I do is I earn their trust, and I take it very seriously to protect my sources, because they're bringing me into a world that we otherwise wouldn't see. So I'm going to alter their voice. I'm going to make sure their face is obscured. I'm going to make sure no one has idea where the location is. And that's my role as a journalist. And why I get so many crazy contacts is I take it very seriously to protect them. And to do that, then they feel vulnerable enough to explain what's going on, and I can get a scoop that people really need to see.
And the second film is about the mercenaries who are down on the border trying to stop all this, correct?
Yeah, so there's a mercenary group called Redwater, and the CEO reached out to me. And so basically what it is, I mean, these guys bust sex traffickers, these guys interrogate cartel members, these guys get hired by 3-letter agencies for various jobs. They do executive protection for names that you'd recognize. And so they take me into their world. They do some, let's just say, if you want to see me get a little bit waterboarded, that'll be a good time to see it on the 7th. And we just see what it's like being a mercenary. It's a gun for hire. It's a very risky, dangerous job. And a lot of these people are on hit lists from gangs, cartels, motorcycle groups, and they bring us into their life, their profession.
I hope you're taking care of that dog, Tommy. He sounds like he wants to be on the radio.
Oh, he's a good guard dog. He makes sure everything's
okay. I was going to say that's how you're staying safe. Nobody's gonna mess with you at your house. So tell me about this, Jim. Tell me about this charity that you've started. That all the proceeds, and you've dumped at least $15,000 of your own money to try to get this project off the ground. Why wrestling as sort of an outlet for inner city youth? Why wrestling as an activity to get them off the streets?
So wrestling is the sport that changed my life. I was 10 years old when I first joined my first wrestling club, and I wrestled all the way through college, and it took me into winning a cage fight, and it took me into coaching. And so it's a sport that requires an incredible discipline, hard work, and dedication, and it makes kids feel strong, confident, ready to go. And so that's a sport I know. So I can't bring kids into basketball. I can't bring them into tennis, but I can bring them into wrestling. And so I'm building a team, and I noticed that I talk to a lot of coaches. I go to a lot of practices in the area. They have hurdles. These coaches, especially in the hood, they have a lot of hurdles. They have kids that have trouble making it to practice because of transportation. A lot of these coaches are coming out of pocket to pay for groceries. So we've already started paying for a lot of stuff for different coaches. We've paid for new shoes for teams. We've paid for groceries for coaches. We've paid stipends, so they're not going out of pocket. This is just the beginning. I plan on investing heavily into this over the next few years, and I'll never be making a dime out of it either. It's just something that I want to create and build and make sure that we have in this community.
So how can people get tickets? I assume the Oriental box office, you've got an Eventbrite, Tommy G Presents, just search for that on Eventbrite. How else can people get tickets? Because this is a very cool thing. I highly recommend it. I think everybody should be there on the 7th.
Well, I appreciate that. So if you look at some of my most recent videos, I interview, there's two that come to mind. I interview pimps and prostitutes in Arizona, and I also go into the theft capital of America, San Francisco, which I know you're probably planning on moving to, Dan. But
clearly,
if they look in the description of those videos, they'll be able to buy the tickets. If they Google Tommy G Presents Eventbrite, it'll come up. Or if they go to my Instagram, which is at Tommy G McGee, and McGee is McGee, it's in my description or my link in bio. So this is what I tell the people. You're going to come see two different films that I don't think anyone else in America has their hands on. I mean, we got really deep access to two really intense stories, and they're going to get to see it. But on top of that, we're crowdfunding as a community, changing Milwaukee, which I think everyone wants to see Milwaukee win. And we can't boil the whole ocean, Dan, but we can boil our little pot, and this is one way to do it. So I'm looking for sponsors, too. If someone hears this and say, hey, I want to put some money down for this, hit me up on my email, TommyGMcGee123@gmail.com, or find me on social media. But I really am optimistic about this, and I think we could do something really cool.
And in fact, if you go to Tommy G's YouTube, just Google Tommy G or just type it in on your YouTube channel. It is the Inside the Theft Capital of America. I actually watched about 15 minutes of it when I had time this morning, Tommy. It's incredible. It's just like your Kia Boys documentary. You're going in with the people who are doing the organized thefts in San Francisco. I mean, you do just incredible journalism, and I've got to tell you, man, I am such a huge fan. I'm a big supporter of everything you do. I think people in my audience really should be supporting your work and supporting your charitable endeavors, because you really do incredible work. So thank you for doing what you do. Thank you for coming on, and thank you for helping to support your hometown of Milwaukee.
Very much appreciate you having me, Dan. Thank you to everyone listening, and I hope you have a beautiful day.
All right. He is Tommy G. Tommy G Presents, a couple of documentaries at the Oriental Theater coming up on Thursday, March 7th. Get your tickets, Eventbrite. Check out Tommy's YouTube channel. I'm sure it is going to be a great event.
This is Michael Lynch from the Lynch Truck Center. We've been working hard sourcing work trucks from all over the country. We currently have over 300 commercial work trucks in stock and ready for your choice of upfit. Our sales team is 100% dedicated to commercial trucks, which means our truck professionals can get you the right truck right now. Our new inventory of Chevrolet, GMC, Isuzu, Hino, not to mention our used inventory, combined with nearly 30 commercial financial lenders, ensures the lowest rates possible for you and the fastest buying experience. Our service center has over 20 dedicated truck bays running 2 shifts, a contact-free sales process, and delivery drivers ready to deliver your truck right to your door. We know your time is important, so we make sure our process is quick and hassle-free. Find your new truck today at lynchtruckcenter.com or stop into the Lynch Truck Center at Highway 36 in Waterford. We won't disappoint you.
Our mission is to protect and uphold our reputation. At Semper Fi, it's the banner we all march under, because the reputation we earn and uphold belongs to all of us. And without a strong reputation in the exterior remodeling business, you're here today and gone tomorrow. And when you've earned a good reputation, that's what makes the difference in value. It's the little extra that you get for the price. And that assurance is actually what counts the most, because it means the good money you're spending with us is not going to go to waste. A roof you can rely on, with a warranty that has a backbone, Craftsman quality airtight window and door installations, brick and stone masonry that's clean and sharp, and new siding that's been known to stop traffic. And it's all backed by a team that over the last 20 years have put a lot of heart and soul into building a reputation that you can believe in. This is Brad Youngbluth with Semper Fi Roofing and Exteriors, your local, veteran-owned and operated exterior remodeling company.
We keep you safe, warm, and dry. Semper Fi.
Gold just hit a new all-time high, and it could go much higher as people realize just how delicate our economy is. Hi, I'm Dr. Ron Paul, and I've spoken to many Americans who are deeply concerned about losing everything and not being able to do anything about it. This is why I'm thankful for physical gold IRAs from Birch Gold Group. Because unlike digital and paper assets, gold is a true haven that all Americans should consider for their financial security. To find out more, text the word PROTECT to 989898. Birch Gold Group will send you a free info kit on gold IRAs. This is your chance to secure your IRA or 401k against the unpredictable nature of our economy. To find out more, text PROTECT to the number 989898 now to request your free info kit on gold IRAs.
Team up with the Brewers for an epic company event this season. With the Brewers Group Outing, you can trade weekday meetings for a fun-filled day at American Family Field, featuring options like tailgate spaces, all-inclusive areas, seating blocks, and much more. Plus, Brewers ticket representatives will make planning your event simple, as they'll be your personal concierge while booking your outing. Start planning your company outing today at brewers.com/groups.
Hello, Wisconsin. It's time to upgrade your patio into an outdoor living area. Hey, Rob here from Mastersies. It's our annual patio preseason sale, and this year couldn't be bigger. Looking for quality name brand patio furniture that stands out from the big box stores? Look no further. Mastersies is jam-packed with all quality brands like Tommy Bahama, but we also give you the flexibility to design your own living oasis with our special order department. Don't settle for mediocre. Indulge at Mastersies Blue Mountain Road in Brookfield and discover the patio and outdoor living center of your dreams.
We asked people why they sold their homes to Grandview Homes instead of using a real estate agent.
Everything they say in their ads is true and then some. A very fair price, no real estate agent fees or closing costs. They even switched the utilities out of your name.
Within weeks, we had closed and couldn't be happier.
Whether you have a hard-to-sell home, want a stress-free sale, or simply need to sell your home fast, Grandview Homes is the name you know and the name you can trust. Visit GrandviewHomes.com to discover the easiest and fastest way to sell a home.
Hickory Dickory Dock, the mouse ran into a gap in your air ducts, made a nest, pooped, and died. Breathe easy after Clean Living Environments cleans your air ducts, will seal air in and mice out. Get more out of your ducts, cleanlivingenvironments.com. That's cleanlivingenvironments.com.
Hi, I'm Nick from Metro Milwaukee Homebuyer, and we'll buy your home as is in cash in as little as 1 week. You heard that right, as is in 1 week. We're a local family business that pays cash for properties as is. Just visit MetroMilwaukeeHomebuyer.com to learn more.
Portions of the following program were pre-recorded.
I hope as you were listening to Tommy G, you were asking yourself, hey, how come nobody else in the media is doing stuff like this? Like, say, massive multinational corporations that run networks like ABC, NBC, CBS. How come nobody thought, hey, let's embed a reporter with the organized theft rings in San Francisco to see what's really going on? It's the same thing I asked about the Kia boys. Why is nobody trying to get a ride along with the Kia boys and asking them themselves why they're stealing cars? Tommy G, we still play that soundbite today, by the way, 2 years later almost. They steal cars because they know they can get away with it. That's why his event, March 7th at the Oriental Theater, Eventbrite. Just search for Tommy G or search for Tommy G on YouTube. Check out his latest videos. I am out of time for this busy broadcast week. Have no fear. I'm back Monday morning doing double duty. That wasn't my music. This is the music as we say goodbye and have a great weekend, Wisconsin.